So I've spent about a month with this fragrance now, worn it a few times, tested it many times, finally ready to give you my full thoughts on the newest flanker in the Polo line. This is Polo Cologne Intense Eau de Parfum from Ralph Lauren. Stay tuned. So we'll go ahead and start off and take a look at the box first. As you can see, it is similar to the old style, which is a newer version of the original. Obviously, this is not exact to what it was years and years ago when it came out, but as you can see, the Polo horse has changed, the font changed. The overall box presentation hasn't changed. The print just changed in size, essentially. The proportions are a little bit different. Fragrance information on the bottom. You have your batch code stamped into the box. There we go. Which, let me get this one out the way. On the back, you have some more fragrance information. Nothing on the top or the sides except for this little QR code, which I have not scanned. But nothing special with the box. Just a basic little box. Now, in regards to this bottle, I do dig this emerald green color with this almost chromed graphite type of look. As you can see, comparatively, it is a different shade of green versus original Polo. So this is a much richer, darker green, where this is more of a pale green, essentially. And instead of gold, it's that graphite color. But overall, pretty much the same. Go ahead and get that out the way. And then you do have the sticker with some batch code information, fragrance information on the bottom, nothing on the back. Cap does click into place. Atomizer matches the cap, and it does spray pretty well. Let's get into the scent. So I'll have the notes on screen for you guys, and basically the easiest way to put this before we get technical in any form or fashion is, if that didn't exist and this was a brand new fragrance, this is what that could have been in this day and age. It's much more modern. It's an ambroxan fragrance, essentially. But the ambroxan's not too heavy. In the top, you're going to get a lot of mint and grapefruit, almost like a frozen grapefruit type of accord going for it, because it's very minty, but it's designer minty. And when I say designer minty, I mean it's more that synthetic spearmint, toothpastey type of mint, not a natural mint leaf. There is a huge difference in the two. If you've smelled the natural mint leaf oil, you know what I'm talking about. Even a spearmint oil, like used in Enclave from Amouage, totally different type of scent profile. This is more kind of that mint that's along the green ice cream from Mint Chocolate Chip Ice Cream that I talk about from time to time. That type of mint, that cooling, you know, creamy type of mint. That's what you're going to get here. And I do get a good touch of the violet leaf as it starts to calm down. The grapefruit starts to chill out a little bit. Some clary sage really comes in. It's very green and herbaceous. Green, green, and more green. Very green fragrance, if I haven't stressed that enough. The color of the bottle is very fitting. I don't really get much thyme or patchouli. I do get a little bit of clean vetiver later in the dry down. The ambroxan's pretty present throughout, even though it's in the base of the fragrance. But it's not overbearing. It's a nice, clean, soapy almost the shower gel kind of feel of ambroxan. But it's not sharp in any way. I don't find there's any rough edges to this fragrance whatsoever. If they had some cypress in here, then potentially the basil just adds to that green herbaceous feel. It doesn't really jump out at me as basil, but for a springtime type of fragrance, spring, fall, which is where I think this shines because it's so green, it's quite enjoyable. The scent here is very pleasant, very nice. It's not some groundbreaking fragrance where it's something you've never smelled before, and I don't think of any particular fragrance at the same time when I smell it, but it has a familiar type of scent profile for a lot of your fresher green type of fragrances that are out there. Very nice, very pleasant. Overall, for the scent, I would say it's one that pretty much any age can wear, because the original Polo kind of has got that tag of an old man's fragrance these days. This definitely does not smell like an old man's fragrance to me. This is a much more modern version of that original. There's no tobacco here. It's not dry. It's not overly piney green. There's no extreme aromatics here, but it does have a nice aromatic feel to it up top. The way these fragrance oils come across is very, very airy for the most part. But I do think the scent on this one is great. I do think it's a nice addition. But let's go ahead and touch on this performance. So, like I put in the thumbnail, because I already had an idea for what I want to do in the thumbnail, Cologne Intense is not a great name for this because I find it not intense at all. It's not, because I would think if you're going to call this one intense, it needs to have an intensified version of the original, which it is not. This is a milder version of the original that takes, if anything, the original is the intense, and this is the mild version. And as far as it being an eau de parfum, this is where it's lacking a little bit, because when you see Cologne Intense eau de parfum, as I did, I'm sure a lot of you thought, well, this is at least going to be an 8-hour fragrance. It's going to project pretty heavy, blah, 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 blah. No, that has not been my experience. It's about a 6-hour fragrance at best on my skin. I don't know who's getting what type of performance out of it, but if you're looking for something that's going to just be some beast mode fragrance, you're going to be disappointed. But if you can temper your expectations and understand what the scent profile is about and really get out and test it, then you might be okay. I would not recommend paying retail for this one. I paid retail so you don't have to. I bought this from Ulta. The first 20 minutes it was available online. I was on an email mailing list to make sure I could get it as soon as possible because I was very excited about this fragrance. And I do not regret my purchase. I don't mind paying retail when it's something I know I'm going to thoroughly enjoy, and I knew I would enjoy this one. But back to the topic at hand, the performance. So like I said, at best for me, 6-hour fragrance. So I would say 5 to 6 hour range, right in that average realm, which I'm confident is not what you guys want to hear, but that's reality for me. Some may get better performance than that. Some may get worse. That's just what I'm experiencing. I've spent about a month with this fragrance now. I've worn it a few times. I've done several test sprays. I've done extensive testing, more than I do on some other fragrances, to be completely honest with you. And in projection, it's no slouch. It's definitely arm's length, maybe a little bit more in the first hour and a half. And then it does have a moderate scent trail. The sillage on this one's decent. That's where the eau de parfum concentration comes in, where the oils are a little bit denser, so it does linger a little bit longer. The trail's a little stronger in this one, even though it starts to sit a bit close to the skin after about the 2-hour mark. Projection starts to really slow down on this one. The projection's not bad. It's not weak, but it's not a beast either. It's right in what I would consider that average to slightly above average range for an hour and a half to 2 hours. Then it goes into that below average territory. Overall, the performance, I would say, is average. But for a fragrance called Cologne Intense Eau de Parfum, that's pretty underwhelming. I am disappointed, but it's not something where I regret purchasing it. Like I said, I'm going to use this fragrance. I really love the way this one smells. With that said, let's go with my overall thoughts. So, is this a must-buy? No. Is it a must-try? I say yes. Not blind buy worthy. Blind buy safe, but not blind buy worthy. I think if you go into this and blind buy it, you're probably going to get let down with anticipation for it being a beast performer. That's why I say I wouldn't recommend going out and blind buying this one. It is available at all your major department stores that sell Polo fragrances, so I say go out and check it out. Try it for yourself if you can. Get a carded sample if not, but go spray it on your skin, wear it a little bit. I'm pretty confident you'll like the way it smells. It does smell great. That is the strength of this fragrance. It doesn't smell super synthetic, even though it has ambroxan in it. It doesn't have that sharp chemical edge that ambroxan can have in some fragrances. This is actually quite pleasant. Very nice, very versatile fragrance, one that can be worn with a t-shirt on up to a suit and tie, to be honest with you. And I don't think it's too dense to where you can't wear it in the summer, but I would think super high heat days might not be a strong suit for it. So definitely spring like we're in right now into early summer, then beginning of fall into late fall is where this one's suited best as far as seasons, in my personal opinion. And like I said, casual up to suit and tie, this can do it pretty much all as far as situations and scenarios because it's extremely versatile. Well, that's my thoughts and feelings on the newest release from Ralph Lauren's Polo Cologne Intense Eau de Parfum. And until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. How many of you went ahead and blind bought this as soon as it released like I did? You know, I'm sure when it came to performance, you were probably a little disappointed. I was as well, because I do get better performance out of that reformulated to death version of the original Polo than I do from this. But I like the way this one smells even more, and the original Polo is extremely nostalgic for me. But I do think the scent on this one is great. This is modern Polo green. It absolutely is the reimagining of the original Polo for today's day and age here in the 2020s. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on Polo Cologne Intense EDP and you give it a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.